Okay, so this is a little tutorial for that twine ball ornament. I have the different supplies, some twine, some ribbon, a balloon, some scissors, and some glue. To blow up the balloon, you might have to stretch it out a little bit first. Blow up the balloon till it's the size of the ornament you want. And I think that looks about right for me. And then tie it. And then next we're going to hang it up over a protected surface. You see, I've got a piece of paper down here so that when any bits of glue drip, they will drip down onto the paper instead of onto my stove. So I'm going to hang it up next. So yeah, I've got my balloon hanging up from my microwave over my stove, hanging over the piece of paper, so it will, any glue drips will fall on that piece of paper. Now I'm going to get my glue and my twine ready. The glue, I'm just using Elmer's glue, and you can even use like Dollar Tree glue, but the Dollar Tree glue you will not want to add any water to, but any thicker glue like this or like this, you might need to add a little bit of water so it's not too thick. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the bowl. So you see I've got about, just a little blob of glue. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of water. Less water than glue. Once I've got the water in there, I'm just going to mix it up. I have a plastic fork, and you'll see why the plastic fork will be really helpful soon. Just to make it a little bit thinner than it was. I've got that plastic fork. I'm going to put my glue top back on so that doesn't dry out. And then I've already cut my 12, and you might want a few more depending on how much you want your ball to be covered, but 12 to 15 pieces of twine that I've cut. They're 2.5 feet long. So that would be 30 inches long. So each one's 30 inches. I cut one, and then I just measured the rest by using the first one. So first I'm going to take one of these, and here in my bowl I'm going to put it down in the glue, and I'm just basically trying to cover that with glue. Completely cover it as much as I can. And then this is where the fork comes in really handy. And you will get a little messy, so you might not want to have your regular nice clothes on. You might want to change into something that you don't mind getting messy. I'm going to take the twine, pull it up through the fork, just to make sure that any extra glue comes off. And then up on my balloon, I've already put one, and here I am putting another one. And I'm just going to keep wrapping these around in whatever patterns I want. And of course, after I'm done, I'll just let this dry completely. That I have finished putting on my strings, I ended up having to add more glue a couple times. So just add more glue as needed. Don't put too much glue because you might end up wasting a lot, but a blob here and there, and then add just a little bit of water. But you do see that this is dripping, so that's why it is really important to have the paper underneath. And you see I even got a couple drips off the edge, so I'm taking a wet paper towel to clean that so I don't leave a mess. I might even get some counter spray to clean that a little bit more. And now I'm going to leave this to dry for a while, probably even overnight, and then I will do the next steps. One little tip I want to mention before it fully dries is that there are little ends for, of course, each of the strings that you might want to either kind of tuck in or just make sure you kind of push against the balloon so that they're not hanging away from the ornament. So do that before your ornament dries. This has now been drying for, I don't know, 16 hours or so. I left it drying overnight, and it's now almost lunchtime the next day. And the next step, I'm going to take the balloon and push it so that it isn't stuck to all of the rope. So all the twine with the glue, I want to make sure it's not sticking to the balloon anymore. So then when I pop the balloon in a minute, you hear it kind of crunching and cracking. When I pop the balloon in a minute, it won't pull on the twine. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then I'll show you the next step. So I finished poking through any little spots to loosen the balloon so the balloon's not attached to the twine anymore. And now I'm going to take the balloon, I'm going to pull up on the top part of it, and I'm going to cut right below where the knot of the balloon is. That will deflate the balloon. So you see it deflated, and it looks like it is still a tiny bit stuck. But oh, it's good. And now I'm going to pull the balloon out. In my case, it is a tiny bit stuck to the twine up here at the top. So I'm just going to snip that, and voila! And then I will show you the last two steps. I have my ornament, and it's a nice hard ball. You could also do this with yarn, by the way. If you have some yarn at home, you can make another one of these. And so I'm going to take a piece of twine. It's about 6 or 8 inches long. And I'm going to loop it through, find kind of 2 places I can loop it through to make a hanger for my ornament. So I'm going to, figure out about how long I want it. Just make a simple knot at the top. So then I have a good amount to hang on a tree branch. Looks like there's a little more twine up here than I want, so I'm going to cut it off. So it's just a short little top, and make sure it's a really tight knot. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is take a little ribbon just to add a little bow kind of around the bottom here. I can either tie it around, or if I wanted to make a bow ahead of time and then maybe hot glue it on, I could do that. So I'm going to tie it around. Here on my ribbon, I just cut a piece of ribbon, and I found it easiest to hang this up again in order to tie my bow. So I'm just going to tie it around the very bottom of the hanger. But again, you can hot glue a kind of pre-made bow on there if you'd rather do that, or leave it without a bow. It's kind of up to you. And I'm using white ribbon, but you could use another color ribbon, either the color that we include in the kit, or something else you might have at home, maybe a couple colors of ribbon. So I've got my nice bow, and there is my finished ornament. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, sorry, it's sometimes hard to figure out where this camera is and what's going to show. So there's my finished ornament. I might just cut the ribbon a little bit so it's not quite so long on the sides, but it's ready to hang on the tree. Voila! Good luck!